this is how to make it so you can amplify everything you're doing to actually fulfill the goals you want to do as a business, but also the impact you guys want to have on your communities too.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Building Business Podcast. My name is Dixon and today we are covering something super exciting. So we have some really exciting guests. Today we're talking about our industry benchmark report, Peak Performance, and the 2026 edition that we have just released. So today we are joined by Nick and Kaylee. I will probably not do nearly as good a job introducing you as you will. So let's start with Nick. Nick, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you're doing.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, my name is Nick Pagnani. I've been at JobNimbus for 5 years now. I'm the Director of Pro Services, and I have kind of a unique background. I started out, my formal education is in e-learning and in working with CRMs, but I've had a history of working on crews and framing and doing construction. I've held a general contractor license in Utah for the last 10 years, and so finding a home at JobNimbus was really great because I get to bring both those worlds together. So when we talk about things like this, it really hits home from what I've done in the past to what I like to do now.
That's awesome. Kaylee.
Yeah, my name's Kaylee Smith. I'm the SVP of Marketing Innovation here at JobNimbus. I've been here 6 years, which is insane. Yeah, I was a VP of Marketing before this, so I've been able to go through every iteration of Peak Performance, which is super cool. And I'm a big data nerd, so I want to make sure we have enough data for roofers and contractors to really run their business effectively. And that's why Peak Performance is here.
So this is not the first year we've done Peak Performance. Maybe just give us a little bit of a spiel for people that are new to it or new to JobNimbus. What is it? What's it for? Why do we do it?
Yeah, 100%. So it's our industry standards report. We want to be able to make sure that everyone has a good baseline for where they're at in their business. I think that's the most frustrating part is when you are an entrepreneur, when you are running your own business, you're not really sure where you stand most of the time. You're not sure if you're following best practices, how you're performing. And it's not like you can go to your competitors and go, hey, how's this rate for you? And so we wanted to create a tool for roofers, and this year we're super excited to introduce fencers as well. So we actually have both this year, which is really exciting. But the whole point was to create a way for them to know exactly where they stood in their business. And you'll see it in the tagline, like, see where you stand, where do you stand? And we wanted to make sure that any part of your business, from marketing all the way down to team culture, production, cash flow, all of it, you can see where you're standing and then also get an idea of what best-in-class people are doing. So high volume, high revenue, really just give you a really solid thing to work off of and help do your goals for the year and really get an idea of where your business is at.
Another question for you, Kaylee. Since you kind of threw the report together, you built it. What was the process like in gathering the data and constructing it as a whole?
Data integrity is incredibly important to me. And I get frustrated because, and you guys deal with this all the time when people launch different stuff is, oh, where'd the data come from? And then you dig into it a little bit more and the data's just BS from one person and one angle. And so data integrity has been a huge thing as we built this report out. We do a few different things. So we have our surveys, we have our analysis of our product, we go into public forums and social media and look at as organic as possible what people are saying in the space. And not just roofers or fencers, but also homeowners. Because honestly, that homeowner perspective, if we're not telling you how to help your customer have a great experience with you, we're not really giving you the full picture of what it means to be really stellar in the industry, right? And so this year I was really excited because we had the most respondents we've ever had in getting this data. So we had over 2,000 roofers give data into this report and over 1,500 homeowners. And so we're talking about really statistically dense stuff to help build off of this. And it's really cool because most of it is multiple choice questions, things like that, but also just the qualitative piece of the patterns of all the feedback that come in place from the space, in the survey results, in the forums and with social media, look at that analysis. It's really in depth to make sure that we're giving you really good input into what you should be working on in your business, pulling from patterns of thousands of contractors, which you're not gonna find in any other report.
Something really unique about that too is this is trade-based work that anybody can learn from. So if I'm in any sort of construction, exterior, whatever the trade is, there's value in this report because a lot of the feelings from the customer view are the same across any major construction project. And then if I have something that's close, or like I said, any exterior project, all of these principles are going to apply to me. I just might exchange the word roof with, pool cage or with water collection or whatever it may be, because it's trade-based work that customers are involved with, and we as the service provider have to excel at that. So I don't think it's just limited to that. It's really valuable to everybody.
Just in general, Nick, from the lens of a contractor, put your contractor hard hat on real quick. What kind of value does industry data or like a single source of industry data do for contractors?
Yeah, this is so huge because there's so many things out there. There's so many things vying for your attention, and there's a lot of confusion like Kaylee was talking about. Social media, you get fired off all these things, and it's all just recency that you have to battle with. The great thing about Peak Performance is I get insights into the entire country. I get insights into local areas. I get to understand from the different perspectives, and people aren't just giving me maybe what they want to hear. Maybe they're, if I talk to a competitor, maybe they're inflating some numbers because they want to make sure they're better than me, or maybe they don't want to give away their secrets. But this is given in such a clear, shareable way that I can go and say, oh, okay, that's where I actually need to improve. I can see, or if I have an area where I'm not too certain on, or I'm maybe a little bit confused, I can see some actual best practices and pick one or two things out of there that I can actually try.
Kaylee, so you've architected the report how many years now? All 4 years that we've done
Yeah.
it? From 2025 to 2026, what are some of the big learnings or shifts in the industry that you've noticed from your end?
Oh boy, so shifts in the industry have been a lot. One, with the introduction of more private equity coming into roofing, there's just a lot more money, a lot more consolidation. A lot more people are interested in what they have to do to get their businesses purchased as compared to previous years. And also just level-wise, insurance has gotten way more difficult to navigate and work with for the homeowner and for roofers, to be honest. And so that's a big element that's in there. The supply and demand pieces have been interesting with tariffs and just with materials and functionality there. So that's progressed over the last few years. It's always kind of been a concern, same with recruiting. And the shortage of, like I say shortage, but there were a lot less storms last year. So people going to 2026, there's a kind of a different set of concerns because the storms just weren't there like they have been the previous years. So it's interesting to see how that pops up in future outlook. And part of now obviously we didn't see everything coming, but thankfully because we do the survey, we saw a lot of it. And the report is set up in a way where it is split between residential and insurance to help give you some more key takeaways depending on what you're focused on in your business.
Specific data points.
And every single section has the homeowner perspective on it, what they're expecting. And because of the shortage of storms, we want to optimize what's there. So either figure out what's not there and make a really good process, but also optimize. So we have key takeaways for every category from the homeowner perspective and just industry best practices from top performers. So you can take the opportunity when you aren't in flux in storm season, depending on where you're at, to go in and really dial in and follow best practice. And we want to make that really clear cut, easy takeaways for you guys for every section so that you guys can see really quickly where your quick wins are and you can grab them and go and get ready.
This is really interesting too because as part of ProServe, we go out and work with customers on site and in their office. Working with the customer, they really had to pivot, and this information was helpful to them because a few years ago they had done $7 million, but it was really all insurance focused and insurance heavy. They had to really pivot to the retail side. They had to bring out some additional ways to get funding or to do financing for people. And they've had to shift their 95% insurance business to a 95% retail business. And that's the cool thing about it is if I'm so far one way and then something happens, a resource like this will help me pivot. And so we talked about some of the best practices in there, some things that they should be doing to say, okay, well, maybe I'm not going to have that storm that's going to come through again in 26. I don't want to just hope and pray that it's going to come. I want to be proactive and set some systems up to make sure I'm ready for it.
Specifically with AI and maybe private equity, if you have any thoughts on that, like where do you see adoption or adjustment in the actual industry? Like, are more companies going to be adopting AI? Are more CRMs? Should more customers be using AI moving forward?
Yeah, well, let's take a step back and look at what AI is really good at for a second, because it's now a huge buzzword. I'm sure people are like kind of rolling their eyes at, oh, it's AI already, just because everyone's talking about it, not just in the space, just in general. I mean, go scroll on your social, you're seeing 800 freaking AI tools all the time. But the purpose of AI and the way that it can really benefit is, okay, the processes that are in place, what are the really boring menial tasks that someone's spending a lot of time on that I can speed up and automate? That's really what AI needs to be applied to. So, and there's lots of cool products coming out in the space and outside the space of like, okay, what's kind of like the manual, tedious work that my team's already doing? That's where you should be applying AI. So like, okay, copy pasting numbers into different places. CRMs are looking at how to speed that up, or even like have an assistant that you tell it what to do and go paste it where it is. When we're like developing even the marketing product here at JobNimbus, it's not so much, okay, what's the brand new thing I can do? It's like, what piece of this whole marketing funnel do people not want to deal with and just have automated and have handled? That's where AI needs to go, honestly. And that's where you have the most bang for your buck, because now you can have, instead of your office manager taking care of all the supplementing by themselves, you can have pieces that are automated for them so they can focus on the other pieces in your business where you need that attention and detail and build that process out. So anyway, that's my rant about the AI stuff, but that's where you need to look at that. And Peak Performance does have that this year. We do have an AI perspective for every section in ways you can easily apply AI into all the pieces of your funnel. With JobNimbus and without, because on our product roadmap, we have a lot of stuff we want to build AI-wise, but honestly through the lens of what can I do to help make this person's role easier? And that's how you should be looking at it. It shouldn't be this is gonna do all these amazing magical things for me. They will, in the sense that it will eliminate the most boring parts of your job. And that's the angle that we're taking as a JobNimbus side, but you'll also see that validated in the Peak Performance AI perspective.
We really focus on, when we work with our customers, say, you're gonna automate what's repeatable, so that you can focus on what's relatable. And that's really what lets people win, because people buy confidence, they buy trust, they know that you're gonna come and talk to them and say, I'm taking care of you. Some of the emails and some of the notifications and texts that include the homeowner in the process, which are really important, those are repeatable, so I'm gonna let AI and technology take care of those. But I'm gonna be triggered, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm having those face-to-face conversations when they're most meaningful. Those high impact things are the things that make me different from my competitor. And so when we use AI that way, we really focus on making ourselves stand out and be better.
Going into 2026, what are some massive challenges that contractors face?
Yeah, this one's really tough. You brought up tariffs and you brought up all these other things with materials. Everybody has to be ultra efficient. There's so many people out there that's becoming more and more competitive. In some states, it doesn't require a license to become a roofer. You can just pick up a hammer and go, as long as you pay your insurance or whatever that is. The hard part is that you have to make sure that you can do it at the right price, that you're making your margins, and you're able to pay your crews and pay for all your overhead. Because of those costs are changing, it's a little bit harder to do. The other thing about efficiency, and you brought up private equity a minute ago, they're looking for those operators that can dial this in. They're trying to become as lean as possible, and as efficient and as fast as possible, because what somebody doesn't want to do is buy a broken system. They want to buy something they can plug somebody else into, or they can scale and copy and paste. So the challenge is how do these people become efficient with everybody else out there?
And just to layer onto that too, not just in your whole process and production side, but also look at your marketing and sales side. Like, what are you doing to take that one job that you already closed and making it 3 more within that neighborhood? Like, what are you doing on the ground level and even in your system, even digitally? What are you doing to really optimize what's there? Especially when you need to wait for the storm. That's how you're gonna not just get through, but thrive in that and totally beat out your competitors. If you have a really good process for taking what's there and amplifying it, you're gonna just skyrocket in your business.
So on that note specifically, I want to dive in a little bit to some data that I saw in the report. A couple things are mentioned that stood out to me. One was local Google ads. So you mentioned, like, while you're in an area working on a job, putting ads out within a half-mile to mile radius. And then also gathering reviews. Like, reviews are going to be more competitive. What can roofers expect, or what would you recommend maybe at the outset of the year as like more tactical advice on how to win in that area?
Yeah, make it part of your process. And this is, like, we're developing this new marketing product, and that's the whole piece of it, is what do I need to automate? And once your job gets moved to closed, that needs to be a review request. And it should be a no-brainer. It's just turned on, so you don't have to worry about it emailing out or anything. Automate it with your CRM. I mean, obviously we love JobNimbus. We want to make sure it's that. But I don't care what you use, make sure it's automated. Like, perfect, the job's closed, I'm gonna shoot off review requests, I'm gonna put them in that campaign, and I'm gonna have my reputation management. On the lead side and the generation side, same thing. You close the job, it's in production, you know it started. And this is where the CRM is so freaking important, especially with AI, because you can buy 10 to 12 AI solutions. But unless it's connected to your whole workflow, who cares? Now you just created 8 different handoffs for your team.
Yeah. It's good, or it could break, or it could create more work for you downstream, just having to rebuild these connections or rebuild processes.
Yeah, and make it work. Choose the thing that you're going to connect your system to as best as possible. It won't be perfect no matter what you choose. Like, you can choose any CRM in the space. You were going to have, like, okay, well, I still need to do this on the side. That's fine, but instead of doing 10 to 12, you're going to have 2 to 3. And have it connected to your workflow. So the job is started. You have that address in your CRM. That's easy to kick off and either create the ads or direct mail campaigns. There are people who partner, and that's what we're working on. And then on the production side, okay, my job's closed. That should be a review kickoff. That should be put in the nurture campaign to get referrals. It's automatic. And getting that initial setup is what the tricky part is. But honestly, the whole point is great. Have your solid workflow in place in your CRM on the production and sales side. Then you can connect whatever you need to from that company or outside of it to make sure that you have your whole customer journey automated and you don't have to worry about it. You can go check it and make sure it's working and functioning right. But honestly, it should be that simple. And I know I'm oversimplifying in some ways, but really, once you have the foundation set up, then it's tweaks at that point. And that's the exciting part, is that you can do that.
This is kind of an interesting concept because a lot of guys will understand that there's gold on install day, right? An old adage my uncle used to tell me, right? This is when you have an install, go knock the doors around it. Set up with your truck, have your tailgate down, maybe knock a few doors and say, hey, sorry, my crews are going to be out here. We think about doing that physically, but we don't think about doing it digitally. A lot of the roofers, as they become more sophisticated, they have to make these connections from marketing just isn't about the front of the funnel. There's different marketing opportunities throughout the whole process, and that's a huge one. I'm really glad that you pointed that out because, again, these people think, oh, I can go do that, I can physically do that, I know that muscle, but if I can now layer in tech to do it for me, a system to automatically throw out mailers a couple days before I'm going to be out there, whatever it is, that's how you excel because, again, transferring from manual labor to the system doing it for you, that's life-changing, that's accelerating, and to be honest, as people grow and get busy, sometimes they forget that there's gold on install day. So they go, they get the sale, they move on to the next, and they miss this whole opportunity for marketing and for relationship building. I think you said own the neighborhood, which is awesome. And to think about that concept, that's how you do that. If local ads are so important, if people buying off of trust and saying, well, I like John, he's a pretty smart guy and he chose to go with ABC Roofing, then maybe I should do that too. It enables that opportunity for marketing and for lead gen to happen.
And let me clarify here, because I think what's happening in the spaces when we talk about marketing, oh, just automate all of it. And there's a major concern, not just in the trades, but I guess in businesses in general, where it's well, it's taking away the personal touch that I have. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, we are in such a physical industry, you can't just replace that. Keep your personal touch in there, but then find a way to layer in, I like how you said that, layer in the digital aspect, because it's just treat it as an amplifier. That's really all it is. Take the brand, take the sense of community and the love for what you do and what you're trying to accomplish as an owner for your company, for your family, for your community, and use this to amplify your voice. That's really all this is. And we really wanted to emphasize, obviously AI is a buzzword, and we put AI perspective and peak performance to help you amplify what you're already trying to accomplish, and this will make it so much faster. So it makes the relatable piece you, be the person in the space. This is how to make it so you can amplify everything you're doing to actually fulfill the goals you want to do as a business, but also the impact you guys want to have on your communities too.
That's the way we win with AI. We don't win with AI having it replace as much human interaction as we can, per se.
And on the homeowner side, and I know I'm just being dead horse with the homeowner perspective, AI perspective, but the homeowner perspective is really critical on this because it's not that the homeowners don't want the personal touch, they just want convenience and ease when working with you. And so you'll see in the homeowner perspective all the ways they want it. That's why they prefer text by a wide margin compared to phone calls. It's not because they don't want to interact with you necessarily, they just want to make it as seamless and convenient as possible. So find the ways to implement the convenience side for the homeowner, even if it doesn't necessarily make sense to us logically. I want to do business by shaking hands. You're not necessarily wrong, and you still should do that on the sales side and even on the completion, but what are you doing in between to help make it as seamless and convenient as experience for your customer? That's what's going to get you that 5-star review. That's what people do, leave 5-star reviews and increase your referrals. Communication's number one indicator. It doesn't even matter if you're behind. Communication is your number one indicator for a 5-star review from a homeowner. And we can't do that perfectly manually. And it sucks, but it's true, especially when you're dealing with multiple jobs at the same time. So find the ways to really make it convenient for your homeowners and pay attention to the homeowner perspective for each section, because that's going to give you your quick wins.
Nick, as someone who's sat in onboarding sessions and implementation sessions with tons of companies, what do the best-in-class communicators do differently in terms of building process?
Yeah, this is really interesting. I think the idea of being fully intentional about your customer experience is the key. When we think about, oh, I know how to put on a roof, or I'm going to go put up this fence, or I'm going to go do this project, you as the operator know every step of the way. You know when to order, you know what to do here, here, and here. Chances are it's your customer's first roof, it's their first fence, it's their first experience with this major of a project. So the more you can include them, the better. So when I say intentional about the customer journey, big milestones, when's this happening? Because a lot of times it's, hey, I'm showing up, I'm grabbing that $10,000 check from you, and you might not hear from me for 30, 60, 90 days, which is crazy. You know, that's rarely is that in any other industry where you're going to give somebody that much money and just hope that it works out, right? And so if I go and I get that text a couple days later, I get that email a couple weeks later, hey, here's the next steps, here's what to look forward to, why we're waiting on your permit. Let me just give you some information, let me help you, let me educate you about the process, because again, I know every piece of it, but there's no way our customers are going to know. So if we can include them in that, that will make the biggest impact that drives that 5-star review.
Kaylee, I'm curious. So I know you started your career in social media. I started my career in social media. One of the interesting data points is that it seems like some contractors, roofers specifically, are still struggling with lead gen via social. I'm curious what you think in terms of how I can win in 2026. If I'm a contractor, what's one thing I can do, or what are a couple of things I can do to kind of lock that channel down?
Neighborhood Facebook groups. Go engage your neighborhood Facebook groups and find opportunities to highlight your customers. Your public social media channels matter in the sense of it's treated as your portfolio. Like, I'm showing you what I can do. Thank you so much for this last 5-star review. Like, screenshot what you got and share it there. Like, use your social pages as validation that you're the right choice.
Because we know customers are going there. Customers are looking at Nick's roofing company before they actually call them up.
Yeah, they look at your reviews and then they look at your social media for validation. Because honestly, here's the thing. Most homeowners are going to choose the person their friend used that they liked. But they're going to go check your website, your reviews, and your social media to validate that they're making the right decision. Because we want to feel like, I mean, look, I'm a single mom. I've owned my house for 2 years. And I mean, there have been points where I'm like, I trust this person enough, go for it. But I'm still going to go check just to make sure, because it's a lot of money to hire a contractor for any project. It just is. So treat your social, treat your website, treat your reviews as the validation for the homeowners that are already searching you. I jump to the Facebook groups immediately just because on a lead gen side, there's so many people asking for recommendations. And sure, they'll listen to other homeowners, but that's an opportunity for you to kind of, oh yeah, we just did someone in this neighborhood. You can go check it out on the Facebook page. I would love to call you. I sent you a message. Like, be proactive there on the lead generation side. Then treat your website, your social media, and your reviews as just the validation source. And if you have the process to get those Google reviews, seriously, it can be as simple as screenshotting your 5-star review and posting on your Facebook page. Right. It's that easy. Just treat it as the way to validate that they're hiring the right person, and you'll see an increase in close rate and you'll see an increase in referrals.
One of the lines that stood out to me from that section is your next lead depends on the experience of your last customer. Could not agree more. In terms of social content, I think a lot of people who are unfamiliar with the space, if you're thinking about homeowners that have never had to get a roof replaced or never had to get fencing done, I think a lot of it is unfamiliarity. I don't know what a great, S-tier level contractor looks like. I don't know what they do. I don't know how to spot one. So reading reviews is obviously massive, but then also just showcasing your work, being able to show and highlight, here's what we're doing. Here's how easy we made it for this customer, this homeowner. I think that is one of the ways that you win organically on social media, and then community is a way, whether it's groups or anything like that, you're able to really lock in, hey, we own these zip codes. We are the best roofer, we're the best fencer for these zip codes. And we know it because they trust us. Everyone knows us, everyone knows our names.
And I like what you said about they want to understand what to expect. Use social as a great opportunity. This is what you can expect working with me. This is the kind of communication you're going to see from me, and this is validated by this review. Go through and map down what people should expect from you, and you can post that on your website and your social, and that'll probably close you more deals right there, because you're 100% right. I think I speak from personal experience. I have no freaking clue.
Right.
I don't know what questions to ask most of the time. I'm just going to chat GPT going, what do I need to ask this guy to make sure I'm not getting screwed? That's really about
And then even then you're kind of guessing too. It's like you're trusting
then I'm trust. Either way, it's a trust game. So make it as simple as possible. Make it a no-brainer. Hey, if you're going to fill out this form or call me or chat me or text me or whatever, this is the process. I'm going to have someone reach out to you. This is the kind of bid. This is how long it's going to take. Walk through what me as a homeowner can expect from you, and you'll already be ahead of 85% of your competition right there.
I was gonna say, educating along the way is another thing too, another way to value add with social media. I've seen a lot of roofers get very successful just by putting stuff out there to educate people about the process. Something as simple as, hey, this is a major construction site, and that means photos might fall off a wall. Or we're gonna put a giant dumpster in front of your garage door. Make sure you pull your car out. And that could benefit anybody else's customer, but me showing that I'm willing to give a little bit of knowledge, that I'm willing to share some experience, and I'm willing to help somebody know what to expect and alleviate some of that concern, then they go, wow, that guy's really good. I'm gonna go for that because again, he's offering me something without any sort of commitment. So it's not just bragging, it's also providing value throughout the process.
I can't think of more than a handful of homeowners who have done this more than once.
South Florida probably.
Yeah,
Right.
South Florida for sure. But here in Utah and certain parts of Texas where I'm from, like I don't know people that know this process in and out. Educating just from the ground floor, I kind of am a dummy when it comes to certain things. So treat me like it. Treat me like I know nothing about this process and help me through it, so that way I can see why choosing your company was the right choice. What are some of like the top just headline level takeaways from the report this year?
Yeah, so there are 5 like main data headlines. Go look at the whole thing because a lot of it's really cool.
It's dense, like Nick was saying.
Sucker's dense. All right, yeah, the top 5 data highlights from here that really stood out to us, and I'm really curious what everyone's input is on what they think were the highlights for them when they go through it. 86% of roofers respond to new leads in 12 hours, but the 5-star rated companies, like their average rating is 5 stars, do in under 30 minutes. So that speed to lead is super critical. Referrals are the number 1 lead source for roofing companies. We talked about that. 90% of homeowners read reviews before calling a roofer, even if they're referred. It's a validation tool. Like go make sure your review process is in place because that's how people are validating that you're the right person to call. Most roofers have 21 to 40% profit margins, but those who use automation stay consistently above 30%. Again, like we can do a lot manually, but the second things get stressful, it drops. So profit margins also heavily impacted by that, not just your leads. And top performing roofing companies are expanding. And we've seen this all over the space. People have other services they do, but they're going into solar, coatings, insulation, and gutters. Basically look at what you're connected to already and expand into that.
Really appreciate the responses so far. Any last thoughts, any wrap up thoughts that you have?
The big thing that I would take away is when you look at this report, you said the word massive, right? There's so much information in here. Don't think you're gonna boil the ocean. Don't think you have to do everything all at once, but do pick 1, 2, or 3 things that you can do this quarter. Something that's actionable, something you can measure, something you can see the impact, and then have that move the needle. And then next quarter, and then next quarter, and then next quarter. Because there's so much in here that your company can be completely different next year, but it starts with just a couple things right now.
One of the other goals that I have for Peak Performance, and we talked about private equity coming in and more people paying attention to roofing than they have ever. Like it's expanded in such a huge way across the United States and Canada and all over the place. It's really cool. One thing I really want to highlight in Peak Performance in a general thing is to show people just how really incredible our tradesmen are, because most people kind of go, oh, you're a roofer, or oh, you're a fencer. It's not considered like a career goal by any means for most people. And it's a real bummer because one of the things that I think is really incredible is this is, again, one of the most physical jobs you can have, and you are genuinely making sure that people's homes are safe, that people are excited going to their home, they feel confident, they're livable, especially like when you are dealing with hurricanes, you are dealing with hailstorms, you're really impacting people's haven. And I want Peak Performance to be an opportunity to show, one, that homeowners notice what you do for them, but also show private equity and other people curious in the space that are looking at industry standards reports, not just for funding, but in general. Look at how much stuff these guys do. Look at how incredible this industry and space is. We miss that a lot. Like even coming to JobNimbus, I wasn't thinking, I know I'm gonna work with roofers the rest of my life. That was not my goal, it was just a career. But having the opportunity to see all the work that goes into this, working with the insurance companies, working with all the cities, going into the space, making sure you're not just taking care of one home, but you're impacting the whole community is so freaking amazing. And all the like stuff roofers do in terms of like, we've seen customers like do free roofs for someone in need. They want to give their employees insurance. They want to send people on vacation. They're just so community focused. And we really wanted to make sure we highlighted that too and give a really cool piece to hand out, not just to other contractors, but also people outside the space so they can have an idea of just how incredible it is.
Massive thanks to Nick and Kaylee for joining us today. Thank you guys so much. This is really the tip of the iceberg with the data that we have. If you want your own free copy of Peak Performance 2026, go ahead and click the link in the description. And please follow us on socials, join the community, ask us questions. We're here to help.